So, as a good new covenant believer, sin has been on my mind. And the grace community sometimes wants to go away from sin and say, let's not talk about sin, let's not think about sin. See, because so much of religion, religare, meaning it's bound us again, has bound us back into that sin life where everything we focus on was trying to stop to sin. So we tried to do the negative. We have to stop sinning. We have to stop sinning. And then usually got caught in this trap of saying, well, if we do this and we do this and we do this, then we can stop sinning. And that's not the way it works. It says to fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of faith. And whatever doesn't proceed out of faith is sin, it says in Romans anyway. But sin has been on my mind lately, and it's that big I in the middle of it. And I thought about maybe a little whiteboard time where we have the capital I in the middle of sin. It is I. It is I. It's all about the independent me. And my I is on myself. And I can get on that side of the good branch and make it about being a better boy, or I can go on the other side and make it about my life being bad and looking for all sorts of things that are contrary to the character of God. But guess what? If it doesn't proceed from faith, it is sin in the new covenant. It's an independence of God. It's me telling God, I will either do this against you or I will do this for you, instead of the rest that comes of doing it from him. See, we have this separation, and that's really what I think of that S in the word of sin. It's a separation. It's an independence of God where we think we can go do anything good for God, but we can't, because then we miss the mark. The mark is faith. Faith is being persuaded by him and us believing or relationally trusting what he is saying. So that I in the middle is that independent. And I think about the verse in Matthew in the good old King James where it said to be single eye seeing, not the independence, but of looking at him. So you can also put that big I in the middle of him. Now I am interconnected with him. I'm in union with him. And now the life that I now live, I live by the faith of the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. And I live in that hope of glory, which is Christ in me. And this new life is a life that's vibrant, a life boiling up of the very life of Christ in me. And I live interdependent on him instead of independent. And in fact, we can even take this one a little bit further. In everything that comes out of this sin life really is just pride. It's stinking independence. It says, I will either do this for you, God, and that's that tree of the knowledge of good, or I will either do this away from you, God, instead of doing it from or interconnected with God. And then this is the life of adventure. This is the life that you now walk with God. You talk with God. You hear what he is saying. You are literally a disciple of Christ living in you. And he teaches you these truths from the inside out. And he teaches you who you are now and what this abundance of this life looks like. And you begin to live by your true nature. I love this hat. Find your true nature, I think it says. You begin to live outside of that sin nature, because that was crucified with Christ at the cross. And now you have a very new nature. That nature is the nature that is connected with God. It says, if anyone is in Christ, he's a new creation. It means you have a new nature. You have the very nature of holiness in you. You are a holy one. When Paul refers to the people of the churches, he calls them to the saints. The root word for saints is the word holy. He calls them the holy ones of God. They are the ministers going out there to do the ministry, being built up. And as they behold the very face of God and they behold Christ in them, they are changed. And how are they changed? From glory to glory. So it is important to understand sin and what that looks like. And you can look at your own life and say, am I doing this independent of God? Am I doing this on the tree of the knowledge of good or the tree of the knowledge of evil, trying to get my needs met apart from God? trying to find an identity apart from God, except we have a brand new identity in him, a brand new nature in Christ.